So the first thing I need to do is to draw out the shape of the eyes. I need to make careful observation of the actual shape of the eyes. A lot of people make them too narrow at the tops and too wide at the sides. So make sure you don't do that. Secondly, I need to draw the shape and the size of the iris. That's the coloured piece of the eye. Make sure that it covers, as in this picture, the top of the eyelid and the bottom, and again, it's not too small. Pay particular attention to the curves at the bottom and the top. So you can see in the picture that I've done, I've just drawn the basic shape of the pupil. That's the black bit in the middle of the eye, and now I'm beginning to just map in the tone. The really key point of this is to emphasize that you're gradually building up the dark areas and you're leaving the light areas alone, particularly the highlights. The golden rule with this is to work on the darks and make the darks darker and the lights light. Leave them alone. The highlights will come because you make the darks darker. That's the golden rule, and that's the best way to make your eyes look realistic and give it that glistening, shiny look. So most of the time I will say just gradually build up the tones and work from the light to dark. But in this instance, when drawing eyes, I immediately go to the pupil and establish that that's the darkest area of the whole drawing. And that's the bit you really go for and make dark. But each time you'll head towards an area where it's lighter, you just ease off to create that light area. And again, leave the highlights completely alone. Other areas that I need to make dark is underneath the top eyelid. The eyelid creates a shadow over the top of the eye, so that bit is dark, and you can see in the drawing where I've darkened that. That's almost as dark as the pupil. In fact, some areas it actually is as dark as the pupil. Again, leave the highlights alone. The cornea, which is the white of the eye, is in fact not white. If you leave it white, it will look really odd and your highlights won't work. That again is covered by the eyelid and it casts a shadow. So you'll see in the video that I'm gradually, lightly, just taking it off the white. And underneath the curve of the eye, that's where it gets darker again. So down towards the bottom of where it's coloured, it is also quite dark. Don't forget to work on the eyelids. Again, they're quite dark where it folds, okay, because it's in shadow, and you need to work those on. It also adds balance and the sense that there's something else outside the eye as well. So just add those. In the drawing, I don't really deal with the eyelashes. You can see I make a kind of attempt at it. That's to demonstrate that you can add a little hints of it in. But I generally avoid doing eyelashes because you will read that into a drawing anyway, and it slows me down. If I'm going to do it properly, I have to do it really properly. If they're done badly, it just ruins your drawing. So generally I say if you want to work fairly quickly with eyes, just avoid putting the eyelashes in because nobody actually notices them then unless they're done badly. So now I'm just generally working around the structure of the eye, adding careful tone into this. Try and do a little bit on the corners, both corners. You'll see that they actually do attract a little bit of shadow, and then there's some quite interesting structures that is worth taking the time to have a look at to see if you can get right. One other thing I'll say about this kind of drawing is that you can end up overdoing it, so it's better to leave the drawing where you could do a little bit more rather than overcook it, and it actually starts to get worse and worse. So one of the other key things about drawing is knowing when to stop. And that's an appropriate time for me to show you the final image and end this video. Hope you enjoyed it and keep practicing.